I
Hello.
think, Lamore, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
So, very, very good. So she's known on TikTok as Lawyer Lamore, and she hit me up because a friend of a friend was like, she's like, I want to do this podcast. I think you can help me out. And I'm like, absolutely, let's do this. And it's absolutely successful already out the gate, way more successful than me and you, Bernie.
Right, exactly. We're
So
working on nothing.
why the reason I'm
Yeah.
bringing you Lamore in at this point is to tell you, me and her are doing This Is Weird from here on
Okay,
out.
fine. I'm out. I see that. I get it. No, you know what? I can't argue with that.
You know what? We might as well because the stuff I cover is just as weird. It may not be as fun, but it's just as weird.
And you're the niche that you've carved out, at least in the interim for the last few weeks, is on TikTok and on your podcast. You're talking a lot about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, which I will admit to you has gone on way longer than I thought it was. Like I thought this is like a week and a half and we're going to wrap this up. And we're entering the 9th year of this. I can't believe it's the 9th year of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
You know what's so funny about that? So many people comment, what am I going to do once this is over? And it's like, I don't know. Pay attention at work. This trial is on during business hours, but everyone somehow is able to tune in and engage. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the Johnny Depp case with you, and that is what your focus is on your social media right now at Lawyer Lamore on TikTok. Love and Order is super focused on not just that case, but I love how you are tying in a lot of legal facts that lay people like me and Bernie, we would never know. We're not in a courtroom very often, but you do family law, correct?
That's right.
Family law and divorces and things like that. So that's your wheelhouse is what is happening here.
Yes. It's funny because it's actually a civil trial. It's a defamation case, but it's turned into this really big circus, right? And they're focusing in on domestic violence, which is a big part of family law, right? Most of my cases, I would say at least 80% of my cases, there's some sort of domestic violence. So it's just the whole.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people actually weirdly can relate to this trial because it is so off the wall because it's celebrities and they live weird lives anyway. But the relationship in its core, how many people go through that toxicity and the abuse and stuff is dark, and that part of it's real dark. But I mean, a lot of people are in that zone where there's just a toxic relationship and they're fighting through it, just like these two people are. But we're so enthralled because this guy was a pirate in a Disney movie.
I love it. Yeah.
Is it possible that when you get to the yes, we have claims of abuse. So that's the first layer of this. But is the second layer of this maybe perhaps both of them were just crazy and
Absolutely.
and that both of them fed into this toxicity, and that at the end of the day they both kind of it was like oil and water, and that it just wasn't going to work, and this is just how this blew up. And that maybe you can't look at one or either of the two parties and be like, this is the reason this was like this.
Yeah, I look at them and just knowing that Johnny Depp, I think he was 50 something, right, when they got married, and she was 20 something, and he was already a legend.
Good for Johnny.
And they got married without a prenup. So for my perspective, it was toxic from the start. How on earth is Johnny Depp getting married without a prenup? That just tells me she had you wrapped around her little finger. I'm sure the entire family hated her because of it. Your business people hated you.
Doesn't it tell you though? It tells you that she has him wrapped around his finger, or as we've seen, maybe he makes poor money decisions. Like maybe he's just shitty with money and just like, I don't care, whatever, just to make the thing happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. He's so generous with his money, but
I took some notes, and I'd like to dig into some of the testimony, and it goes right along with what you're saying, wrapped around the finger. Let's go into how Heard this week described the romantic moments between her and Depp. Okay, so in her testimony, she actually said in the beginning of the relationship, quote, I remember he took the foil off this bottle and put it on my ring finger and said, I had only been with him a few days, maybe it was weeks at the time, but it just felt very intense. We were in a bubble of secrecy. We had this beautiful, in less than a week, probably, a trip to the Bahamas on this private island and sandy beaches. This sounds like The Bachelor, does it not? Except for the foil ring. That's weird. That's the weirdest part. But he was overly generous at times. She said, I'm talking about these extravagant trips and these gestures. It was a lot. This is how she described the early part of their relationship. He was pouring it on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Some people call it love bombing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a few people that do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we should say, because of their age difference and because Johnny Depp was already a thing in Hollywood, I mean, him being eccentric was not new. He was eccentric and strange and passionate and all of these things that you read about Johnny Depp ahead of this. So it's to hear all of these details, you're like, it's kind of the least surprising thing in the world.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100% because I remember, Johnny Depp has been famous for what, 3 decades?
Yeah.
I've known Johnny Depp in that way too. And people have asked, I think part of his argument was, I got into drugs and alcohol way more after we met. I think there were people from studios who said, yeah, he got much worse when they met. And it's like, you expect us to believe that the guy who owns Viper Room was way deeper into drugs and alcohol when he met Amber Heard? How does that make sense?
Let me ask you about that, because there's a handful of people that have come through in the trial. And I'll admit to you right now, I have only been following it cursorily. Like, I have not been following it. I certainly don't know the details, probably not even as many details as Otis, and certainly not as many as you. But the one thing I saw this week is they brought a Disney executive up on the stand, and that Disney executive admitted it was not Amber's allegations that sunk Johnny Depp in the eyes of Disney. It was Johnny's behavior and unprofessionalism that sunk Johnny in the eyes of Disney, and that's why they were going to move along. How much of that testimony did they bring up where they were just like, they were trying to discredit him as a bad worker, like as a bad employee?
Right. So half of the argument is you have become so famous that the world revolves around you. You come to set late. You don't care about the crew. I think there was an allegation that he actually got into a fight with someone on the crew on one of his movies, and there's a separate lawsuit for that they tried to bring in, right? And then he's trying to say, no, everything was worse because of Amber. And then this article that no one ever read. No one ever read this article. Your fans had no idea that there was a Washington Post article by Amber Heard. You brought the attention to that article, right?
He is the one suing civilly Amber Heard for sinking his career because of the allegations that she made inside an article where she never actually named him by name.
That's exactly right. And you can make the argument that, yeah, his career maybe in the public's eyes went downhill when they got divorced, because that's when the first video came out, right? He's slamming all those cabinets in the kitchen and all of that. Sure, 2016, maybe his fans, they dwindled down and maybe things were rough for him or whatever it was. But I certainly don't think it's the words in that article.
All right, let's pause for a second because I got a few things here, and hold the thought on the cabinets because I had I had a quote from Johnny on that Bernie can relate to.
Okay.
So first off, I love that Disney did not appreciate said that there was no professionalism from a guy playing a drunken pirate in a movie. Like, let's be real. Johnny Depp is the kind of actor who comes on set as the character. He's never Johnny Depp when he's there.
Or is it the most method he could possibly be?
Absolutely.
Very method. Very method.
So they're like, this guy's not professional.
This guy is great. Good. This is good. Keep going.
Secondly, that's how I plan on treating my coworkers as I we'll get to that announcement in a bit as I tell you my new gig at my radio station. I'm going to be exactly like that. Thirdly, back to the cabinets thing. This was Johnny Depp's quote in his testimony as Amber Heard tried to claim he assaulted her in this fight that they were talking about in that moment of the trial. He said, quote, I did assault a couple cabinets, but I did not touch Miss Heard. Bernie, we did a whole episode on Bernie assaulting cabinets. So
Oh yeah, well yeah, well I was having an issue with the cabinets underneath, and the cabinet swung back and hit me, and I was gonna tear the cabinet up, and came in, and it was a whole thing. So
Again,
I mean, I'm not saying I get it, but I understand. You know what I mean? Like
there was one point when Bernie was fixing the cabinet that his wife said, "What did she say? Are you going to be all right there? Do you
everything
got
okay?
that?
I'm like,
Everything okay?
goddamn cabinet.
You get out of here! This is me, the
I
cabinet."
just tell my wife, just like leave the room. I don't want you to witness what I'm about to do to this cabinet. It's plausible deniability. It's plausible deniability if you leave.
Oh my God.
So in Bernie's eyes, he was credible in that moment.
But that's the thing. I do want to ask a question about Johnny Depp's testimony, and that was he is not hiding the fact that he's like kind of unbalanced and kind of likes to do drugs and has a group of friends that he likes to do drugs with. Like he's not hiding the eccentricities of being Johnny Depp here, right?
Right. No, you're spot on. And I think that actually helps his case because he's coming in and saying, yes, I'm a little bit crazy. I like to drink. I like to do drugs with my friends. Yes, yes,
You're
yes.
everything you think I am. Yeah.
Yes, but I do not I didn't hit my wife. I don't hit people. I assault cabinets. I assaulted a couch in a hotel room. Sure. But I don't hit people. And I never hit her.
So that's some of the craziest testimony that I've heard is how they were going at him about who he did drugs with. Because again, extravagant, crazy celebrity lifestyle. They're like, did you do pills with Marilyn Manson? Oh, listen, whoever you are, lawyer, if you were in a room with Marilyn Manson and he had pills, I'm going to guess that we're all doing pills.
Yeah, right? You'd have to do the conversation. Yeah, like, hey, Marilyn Manson's coming over. Did you guys pick up the pills? Did you guys get the pills? Because I'm going to need the pills to get through the conversation with Marilyn Manson.
There was one point when Johnny said, yes, we did. I actually gave Marilyn a pill just so he would stop talking so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me. That was hilarious. And you would think sometimes do the jurors, because Marilyn Manson does not have a good reputation. So do they maybe think birds of a feather flock together? Or is Johnny Depp so likable that they're just like, ha ha, he gave his friends drugs to make him shut up. That's so cool. You don't know.
Listen, I think we all have that friend first off. And if you don't, then you are that friend. So
That's fair.
So I was listening to the podcast and you made a good point, and this might be because I'm a guy and I don't identify with Amber as much as I would if I were a girl. You made the point that likability is very important, and Johnny Depp came off as very affable and likable, and Amber Heard is coming off not so much. And so maybe that's me reading it as a dude, or that's them painting her in a way that she's not. Does the jury attach to Johnny Depp coming off more likable and her not?
I think so, because what we know about what's going on in the courtroom is that we have 4, I think now there's 5 20-year-old guys, right, on the jury. The rest are women. And on the first day of her testimony, they were very alert. They were listening to her, trying to figure stuff out, looking at Johnny's reactions, listening to her, looking at Johnny, going back and forth. And then we found out the second day, half of them turned their chairs the other way and wouldn't even look at her.
Oh, I didn't know that. Weird.
Yeah. They said that on court TV. And it's like, okay, so the vibes that we're getting at home might be the same that's going on in that courtroom, maybe even worse for Amber, because the courtroom is full of Johnny Depp fans. She has not, I feel really bad for her because the law and facts are mostly in her favor. The problem, if you have no credibility, you're done for, right? The law and facts can be on your side, really. But if you don't have any credibility, jurors aren't going to believe a single word that comes out of your mouth.
At the end of the day, this is a sales job. You got to go in and sell this more than you have to convince anybody that the facts are anything.
That's right. So, when you're dealing with a jury, that's exactly right.
I suggest plugging again, you listen to Love and Order if you're into the law stuff, because the way she lays it out, especially the first episode. She has who's the guest you had on that was former DA?
Yes, he's a federal prosecutor, Michael Morris.
He explains it so well. These hearsay arguments, these jury dealings that you have to deal with as a lawyer, the credibility issues that you try to build and keep them from hearing certain things so you don't kill your credibility of your client, things like that. It's so interesting. So the details of all that are within Love and Order, and I love that about the podcast.
Thank you so much.
And this trial just lets it flow for you, and I think it's creating a moment. So
let me ask you, when you're dealing with a jury like this, we always see this on TV, that they say something, Johnny Depp is this, and a lawyer objects, and they strike it from the record. Okay, but the idea here was to get it out in front of the jury, but ultimately strike it from the official record. Does the jury connect with that, even though they're not supposed to have heard it, or they're not supposed to, it is stricken from the record, it's not supposed to be a part of their final decision making?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes that's a tactic and a strategy that the other side will use, right? That if they object, it's not objectionable, right? But they will object, either bring more attention to it or try to bring less attention to it. But if it's stricken from the record, it really means nothing in a jury trial, right?
Because they heard it. They heard it ultimately. The thing that they're,
Well, Lamore said in her podcast, we're humans. Jurors are humans at the end of the day, so they're going to act like humans would, and you expect them to.
Right. Like if someone said to you, "You are such a piece of shit," and then they say, "I take it back." Right?
I mean, I go
often.
Often. Go ahead.
Right. I take it back. I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day. Nothing against you. I was just having a bad day. I take it back. You're going to remember that person went off on you like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're telling you, I take it back. I didn't even mean it. It's not something you should remember, whatever it is. But we're human. That's just the way it works.
Another one of my favorite moments in the trial was when Heard's lawyer objected to himself. He was asking a line of questioning, and then the doctor said, well, when he came in, it was about his cut finger. And when he came in, someone told me, and he said, well, objection, hearsay. And the judge is just like, you asked the question.
Yes. So
and he said, oh, sorry. Sorry.
What's crazy about that? The judge shouldn't have said that, because you can object to the way someone answers your question, right? But did he ask? I don't even remember how he phrased the question, but I think the way he just jumped and objected, it's like, wait, but she didn't even say, and what is happening? Right. But you have to feel bad for these attorneys. Listen, a 6-week trial, no thanks. I'd rather no.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the finger, because that was a weird moment in itself. I don't know if you knew this, Bernie, but Johnny Depp apparently painted with the blood of his cut off finger.
Sure. You do
during the fight. So they were having a fight. He cuts his finger terribly.
Was long. COVID was long. I think we can all agree. COVID was really long.
Was it a bottle or something he cut it on?
A bottle, yeah.
And so mid-fight, he's like, you know what would be great? A painting right now. And then what gets even weirder is that he was asked, was that painting a penis? Because every man knows,
again,
I'm painting a penis. I assume he's an artist and he's going to come with some awesome creation with his blood. But nope, he's just like all of us, and he's going to paint a penis.
Paint a penis
in the middle of a fight.
A regular dude.
Like you just they're going to have to prove that he has the crazy card, and the crazy card may win this entire thing.
That he's just gone even crazier though.
Crazy.
She's showing up to court dressed as him several times. She's pooped in his bed. That was a big part of the trial, where there's fecal matter. She's trying to blame it on the dog, but you're looking at it and you're like, that's a big poop for a little dog. Number one. Number two, you're going to, okay, let's just say it is the dog poop. So who pulled the sheet over the poop? Because it wasn't the dog.
You really have studied this.
I paid attention.
Just like the forensics of.
Yeah, that came up during the divorce too. And what's funny about that, well, I guess it's not even funny. It doesn't matter whose poop it is. That type of behavior, I would say, is abusive. That is abusive. to do that in someone's bed, whether it's your poop, a bird's poop, I don't care. That is abusive. That's
so
abusive.
backing up, this is where he said he drew the line. Like the poop in the bed was like, he said, that's the divorce. We were done that moment.
I can't handle things right now. I can't handle it.
Everything leading up to that, I guess, was okay. And then
so far so good, but you shit in my bed. I draw a line.
And again, I get it. I think I'm done then too.
Yeah.
But there was a party. I think it was his birthday, right?
It was her birthday. Her 30th,
birthday. They were throwing a massive party. Johnny's like, I'm getting out of here. I just don't want to be a part of it. He leaves. The maid calls him the next morning and says, there's poop on your side of the bed. And
I didn't do it.
Looks
this
like
time?
human poop. And Johnny's like, what? What's going on? His story is that her or her friends decided to shit on his side of the bed so that he would climb into bed and slide through the poop.
It's a crime of the century. You know what I'm saying?
I've had some bad relationships, but I've never gotten to that level.
At the end, let me ask you something. We were asking about how people are perceiving Amber against how people perceive Johnny. How much of this is like kind of we're wired to believe him and we're wired to think that she's crazy? Like how much is a bias a part of this to begin with?
Oh my God. It is such a huge part of it. I get reported if I say or show any of Amber's evidence because people hate it and they will say, you're pro Amber, she's pro Amber. And it's like, no, I'm trying to listen to the facts because we don't know the facts. She got on the stand, right before the 10-day break?
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard her side of the story.
Lamore, I know you're a lawyer, but did you live through the past 3 years on social media? Because facts don't matter anymore.
Facts. We've given up on facts, guys. We don't do facts
No.
anymore.
We don't do facts
We're out on
anymore.
facts.
Nobody likes facts. Like,
we're in a post-fact
what
world.
are you talking about?
You're right.
It's all about opinion and what you think in that moment, and you should spout it off in your comment section.
Stephen Colbert calls it truthiness. It might not be true, but if you can convince people that it's true, you're fine.
I know you lawyer types like facts and shit. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, we're not doing facts.
Update your level.
It's a really, really good point, though, because you see a lot of younger kids kind of justice for Johnny. Their entire page is Johnny Depp. Their handles are changed, right? And it's like, how do you guys know him?
Right.
Pirates? Real? I guess that makes sense. But I don't remember him having huge fan clubs or anyone talking about him on TikTok before the trial. Yeah. Why are you going so hard? And a part of it is he has to put on his case first. So everything, all the content everyone made went viral, and it was all kind of pro Johnny Depp because it was him telling his story. So, as far as the court of public opinion goes, no, Amber had no chance at all.
This is basically what it's about for him, though, right? It's a $50 million defamation suit, but he doesn't even give a crap about the $50 million. This is about him and his story, right? Isn't that the basis for why he even did this?
Yeah, I think the first day of his testimony, he said something like, oh, I don't care if I win or lose. I don't care if I win or lose, right? Which for attorneys, all of us are saying you're going to lose. The law and facts are not on your side. And then you think about it even deeper, and it's like 6 weeks of resources from Fairfax County.
I've assumed the whole time that he picked his lawyers by calling one of those numbers on a billboard. And they're not getting paid unless they do win. So
right, yeah.
Right? No, is that not how it happened?
No, that's not how it happened.
Do you have a billboard with your name on it with a phone number?
I would never in my life do that.
They hand those out like you go to the same place that you shop for real estate billboards. The real estate people are lined up on this side, and the lawyer people are lined up on this side for the billboards with your face on it.
Oh my God.
So let me kind of put a bow on this. Are you in how do you think it's going to end?
I don't know anymore. Because I still think the law and facts are not on his side, but Amber Heard, I think, has said things in her testimony that make her lose credibility. So if the jury kind of disconnected from her on the first day of her testimony and didn't listen to anything else that she said, Johnny could very well win. It's a jury trial. It's not like a judge who knows how to disconnect from, bullshit and like these are the law and the facts and I know how to fit it into the elements. It's a jury. It's a jury that is seeing all these fans in the courtroom. It's, the world right now, they can make a lot of money after this case, doing appearances, book deals, documentary, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what's going on in their heads. I really don't. Jury trials are just wild cards all the time.
And that's going to be a big boon of business for everybody. Is everybody there just kind of waiting on this thing to wrap up so that they can start signing their book deals? And
yes,
like that's going to be an industry in and of itself.
We saw what happened after OJ.
Right.
Everybody's
waiting.
There
we go. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Everybody had a book. Even OJ put out a book about how he did the murder, but it was only if he did it.
We reviewed that in depth on this.
We had a segment
you back on. I want to bring you back on
with OJ tonight because
we
had
right?
OJ on quite often because we wanted to hear his thoughts on the craziest stuff going on around the world because he goes on Twitter and decides to give us.
OJ just comments on pop culture now.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because we've reached the end of the loop where we're back to like OJ just being a pop culture guy. And we're all like, and he's completely oblivious to the things he's like. OJ had an opinion about Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Like the assault.
And you're just like, I'm not sure I'm ready to live in a world where OJ's giving me his hot takes on Chris Rock and Will Smith. Like, I don't know that we need to be in that world.
OJ, just sit that one out,
just
bro.
Sit this one out, man. It's so much violence in the world. Is there, OJ? Is there really?
Oh, jeez.
Well, thank you for. I appreciate the conversation, and I think you carved out yourself a niche because you were explaining it in a way that I listened to it, and then I could come here and talk to you, and I felt like I was way knowledgeable, way more so than when we began. But I
feel like I could jump in a courtroom and
I
and
feel
make
like
it happen right now.
I'm basically a lawyer.
It's the same thing as like when I watch TLC and they flip the houses and stuff. I immediately now assume that I can flip an entire house and make money. So now I assume when the next celebrity trial is, look for me in the courtroom. I'm going to be running game as the lawyer, and I'm going to win it because of Lawyer Lamore and her credibility and knowledge that she gave me through her podcast. So at Love and Order is what it's called. I produce it. That's why I wanted to push it even more. Love and Order on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts. You can find it at Lawyer Lamore on TikTok. It's a ton of fun, good content. And that's why we wanted to have you on, because neither one of us know anything about law. We've been arrested a few times. That's like the extent of it.
I know. Yeah, I know about the legal system in so much as I was the defendant. That's kind of.
I had to call a number on a billboard.
I had to call. Yeah, I had to scrounge together $500 on 2:00 in the morning.
Thank you guys for having me and listening to the podcast. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lamore. Have a great night. Appreciate you.
Bye.